Hello, everyone. Welcome to Clarity 16.1.2 Feature and Supportability Training. My name is Dave Sprague. In this section, we will review Clarity's new out-of-the-box objective and key results capabilities. We'll also cover updates to Clarity Connections, which is the out-of-the-box configurable solution to integrate Clarity and Rally. However, the integration topics will be in the context of the out-of-the-box OKR capabilities. In other words, the Clarity Rally integration updates in this release are dedicated to supporting the new out-of-the-box OKRs. So what's new? As mentioned, Clarity users now have access to a new workspace, which provides objectives and key results, or OKR capabilities, out of the box. The new Objectives workspace is available from the main navigation menu, providing users access to seated studio objects and attributes for objective, key result, actual value, and target value. The new workspace leverages the typical configurable tool sets utilized throughout Clarity, including blueprints, grid and board views, configurable filters, visual widgets, save views, bulk edit, and export to CSV, to name a few. As you'd expect, a new permission, Objective Navigate, is required to gain access to the Objectives workspace. And the typical create, edit, view, copy, and delete permissions can be configured, which enables users to interact with the objective, key result, actual value, and target value instances. Finally, Clarity Connections has been expanded to support the new OKR objects. The existing object and field mapping configuration tools and supporting sync jobs have been updated to support integrating with the out-of-the-box Clarity OKRs with Rally. So why is this important? With the introduction of the out-of-the-box OKR capabilities, administrative users are no longer required to create each studio object and their required attributes. In this release, the delivered out-of-the-box OKRs capabilities closely matches that of the previously delivered custom object-based cookbook model, but without the need to create and maintain each studio object and their required attributes. Of course, customers may choose to alternatively use the custom object-based cookbook model. It's totally flexible in that regard. However, the new Objectives workspace provides a framework for future updates in terms of additional new capabilities and improved visualization. The product team will continue to invest in this area for several quarters to come. So here's a view of the objective listing in the new Objectives workspace, as highlighted on the left of your screen. This page is showing the default attributes for both objectives and key results. In this example, a single objective is highlighted, which has its own listing of key results. The Key Results tab is selected in the flyout and using the horizontal positioning for improved usability. Objective is now an out-of-the-box master object. I also want to point out that the progress field, the objective progress field, ships with a seated tooltip to help users understand. This is a calculated field comparing total key results progress divided by the number of key results. In addition, key results is delivered as an out-of-the-box sub-object. And I want to call your attention that key results also ships with the progress field, which is a calculated field as well, comparing current and target values. The last updated date field is available for both objective and key results and helps to monitor engagement. We're going to drill down now and look at the key results. There are additional out-of-the-box fields included which were not documented in the context of the custom object-based OKR cookbook approach. First up, we've got this concept of a key result owner. Consider using this as a best practice to document individual key result ownership. The unit of measure, consider using that as a way to identify the type of information that start, current, and target values actually represent. It's a free-form string field where those responsible for defining key results can document the type of information to be measured. And then the last update date, as mentioned on the prior slide, this is also a best practice to consider using it to monitor your organization's engagement in the overall OKR practice. This release also includes the ability to capture interim key result, actuals, and targets in Clarity. This capability was also available in the prior release, but promoted in the context of the custom object-based OKR cookbook approach. If you are new to the topic, you may be asking, what are interim actual values and target values? So interim target values can be thought of as a checkpoint to gauge progress toward the defined final key result target. Interim actuals are just that and can be used to gauge if the interim target values are met. Like the other objects, actual value is delivered as an out-of-the-box key result sub-object. You can see in the diagram when Clarity actual values are in use, and it's optional, the most recent actual value automatically updates the key result's current value on page refresh. The actual value name and ID attributes are configured out of the box with auto numbering on by default. So all you have to worry about as an end user is the date and value pair. Kind of moving on to the next object there, target value is also delivered as an out-of-the-box key result sub-object. Interim target values don't update the key result target value in any way. Date and value pairs document interim information as it pertains to the desired key result target value. Like actual value, the target value name and ID attributes are also configured out of the box with auto numbering on by default. We'll talk more about the actual value and target value fields in the context of the Rally integration later in this session. I opted to include this slide and the next slide to document the out-of-the-box objects with their respective access rights and descriptions. As you'd expect, a new permission, the object navigate, is required to gain access to the objective workspace, right, that left-hand navigation element. And then, of course, the typical create, edit, view, copy, and delete permissions can be configured. I'm not going to read each access right and description. The slide includes the objective and key result access rights. So this information is captured here for your review. The access right descriptions include a reference to the new user experience in the description there to differentiate them from those access rights provided in the context of that custom object-based OKR cookbook approach. So continuing with the out-of-the-box objects and their respective access rights and descriptions, this slide includes the actual value and target value access rights. And again, the typical create, edit, view, copy, and delete permissions can be configured again here. And again, this is captured for your review. I'm not going to read each element here. Clarity Connections has been expanded to support the new out-of-the-box OKRs. So as a reminder, the goal of the Clarity Connections solution is to tie Clarity and Rally together. You can start with Clarity business outcomes, import them into a Clarity roadmap, and then the integration can use these business outcomes from an approved roadmap scenario to create portfolio items in Rally. The integration can also use portfolio items in Rally to create business outcomes in Clarity. That was a new capability introduced in the 16.01 release. So you can see there's things can initiate in Rally, or they can initiate in Clarity, depends on your business practice. So and then based on the initial estimates, as well as delivery status, Rally can send that information back to Clarity for review or monitoring. So this integration allows you to tie business decisions and their prioritization with delivery or execution information. So as we discussed, Clarity provides the ability for organizations to catalog objectives and key results, or OKRs, and track their progress, which creates alignment and encourages engagement, which are all critical success factors for any business. So OKR support was first introduced in the 1603 release, but promoted, as I mentioned before, in the context of the custom object-based OKR cookbook approach. But with this release, Clarity now has objective and key results capabilities out of the box. The existing Clarity sync jobs have been updated to support integrating the out-of-the-box Clarity OKRs with Rally using their defined sync directions. So from a Rally integration perspective, different parts of the organization will articulate unique OKRs related to their respective roles. Even though OKRs may be viewed through different filters, they can complement or be aligned with each other. As a result, business and engineering management achieve OKR alignment. So this is how we visualize the relationship between the solutions in the context of value ops. We're going to continue to evolve this over time as people tell us what other information they'd like to go through this round trip. Finally, this new addition was driven by customer input. Essentially leveraging Clarity's configurable auto-suggest capabilities, customers can optionally display the Rally project ID in addition to the Rally project name in Clarity. The Rally project ID information is displayed when the Clarity pull-down menu is activated, so it's on the right as an example. When the pull-down menu is closed, like the left example, the grid, the flyout, or the board cards, but I've got a grid example here, will display the project name only. This is an important update for customers that have multiple Rally workspaces where project or team names may be the same name in use across multiple Rally workspaces. The addition of that Rally project ID in the pull-down helps user differentiate between the project or team names in this situation. So given the requirement to deliver the capability as quickly as possible, we focused on limiting the capability to Rally's portfolio item projects. In other words, this capability in this release is not supported for Rally's objective projects. Okay, so let's move on to the demonstration. We're going to take a tour of the OKRs from the Studio object side to take a look at those, how they're configured, and help you differentiate those from the custom master object or CIT objects that have been maybe configured in the context of the OKR cookbook approach. You'll see how to configure Clarity OKR access rights. That should really be a refresher. It's no different from any other access rights. You'll see how to manage Clarity objectives, key results, actual values, and target values. And while managing Clarity objectives, we will use the updated version of Clarity's large string rich text attribute. There's an update there that has an impact on objectives as well, objectives. You'll also see how to configure the Clarity's project pull-down menu to display that Rally project ID in addition to the name. We'll see that in action. And then we'll switch gears and kind of close out on the integration between Clarity and Rally and the out-of-the-box OKRs. We'll populate the integration mapping and we'll make some updates in either side, and we'll see the results of that after running the synchronization job to update both Clarity and Rally. Okay, so let's jump into the demonstration. Okay, we have landed on a project list, but the first thing we want to do is take a look at our objectives. Here's the new workspace dedicated to OKRs. And we have here, I'll just give you a quick tour of the page. We will come back to this again. We've got widgets that can be configured. We've got our listing of objectives. And then with the flyout open for a highlighted objective, I do have the flyout open here. I position it at the bottom, right? I can show it over here on the right. But from a visibility perspective, it makes more sense to have it on the bottom just so we have better visibility here. There we go. So for that that selected or highlighted objective, we have a number of key results and some various information that we'll discover in just a moment here. But first, we're going to go look at, well, how do these things, how are the objects different from the custom master object cookbook approach? So I'm in Classic Studio, I'm searching on objects, and I'm just going to type in object just to get a keyword here. And first thing I want to point out is your environment may not show this, but just in case your organization has taken advantage of the early days of using OKR, custom master objects, or CITs, custom investment types, to create objectives, you may see those, right? And they're using the plural term. The new one, the objective object at the top of the list here, is in fact the objective. I'll just kind of click into this just real quickly and go to the attributes page, only to articulate here that there's the out-of-the-box attributes, and they do include all of those attributes out of the box that are needed to support the integration as well. Just be aware of that. One thing I do want to call out that the color mapping for progress, for example, or even the confidence score up here, the color mapping for those are not set out of the box. So this is an example of just some data that's been set up in advance. So just be aware that the color mappings are not configured for the progress attribute as well as the confidence score attribute. All right, so then I think just to continue with the theme here, we'll take a look at key results, and you can see that there's multiple here, and again, we're focused on the singular, right? That is the out-of-the-box object for OKRs. And if we go down the path of actual value, you'll see the actual value object, that's the out-of-the-box actual value. And if I look at target as our last object, you'll see the target value object, that is the out-of-the-box object. Okay, so now let's real quickly take a look at the resource, the access rights, because they're a little bit different in terms of the description. I wanted you to be aware of that. So the first thing I have here is we have a group. I'll just type in keyword modern. Here's our group that I set up. And just to show off that there are a number of access rights, was shown a moment ago on those slides. There's 21 access rights for these objective object, key result, actual value, and target value, right? All using the singular nomenclature. And there is the one extra one here for navigate. Now I also come here to show that the descriptions reference the new user experience, which is different from the other access rights that are related to custom master objects or CITs. And so we'll show that real quick and by example. We'll take a look at Cheryl Amos and look at her access rights. I'll type in objective just to get a keyword search going here. And you can see she's part of the OKR group. So she got all those different access rights as far as objective is concerned, right? But there's a couple down here that use the plural, right? So these represent either the CIT or our custom master object access rights. And notice there's no reference to the new user experience in these. So that's another way to differentiate between, well, which ones are the out-of-the-box objects versus those that may have been in place before. Okay, so let's come back to the modern, and we'll look at back at our listing here of our objectives with our widgets. You know, some of the new capability that came with widgets in this release applies everywhere. So OKRs benefit from that. It's the ability to expand the block and see those that comprise the widget based on the data that's in the table here. So this is just representing those that have a kind of a low confidence score from low to high. And likewise here in those objectives that are progressing along have a high percentage score from 100% all the way down to the 39%. So just wanted you to be aware of the widgets that are there. I'll close this out just to give us a little more real estate here. And as I, again, highlight the first objective here, I see I've got the flyout open in the horizontal position and the key results are shown here. I can just navigate through these, and of course, like all the other flyout behavior, the content of the key results is showing up here with the various key results and their data. I mentioned earlier that Progress has a seeded tooltip just to make it available to show users what this calculation is. For purpose of today's demonstration, I added one for key results as well, because this is also a calculated attribute, but it's not seeded out of the box. But of course, you can set that up and make it available to your users. Let me come back to the first objective, and I'm going to click in. And we'll go to the key results module, right? This was configured by Blueprint. I didn't mention that, but there's a blueprint here available for objectives as well. Then if I highlight each key result, I'll bring up the details, right? So this is going to now bring up the sub-objects associated with each of the key results, right? So this is a third level object down here, actual. So if I click through each one of these, I'm starting to see the actual values that can be in use. Now, of course, these are optional. It's not necessary to use actual or target values. It becomes important when working with the Rally integration, if you choose to do that. I'm going to go ahead and go into the first key result here, which is all about achieving 5 customer reference accounts. So what I want to do, I have an update here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new entry here. And so I want to use, I'm going to put a value of 5 for May 10th. I just have an update as of May 10th. That is the day of this recording. Okay, so now I've done that update. And the reason I did that is because this section, the actual value and the target value sub-objects actually are the ones that communicate with Rally. So in other words, the current value up at the top here, the key result current value is updated. Watch, I should see this update of 5 upon refresh. So I'll just click over to here and we'll come back and we'll see the 5 there, and now our current value is 5. It was, of course, 2. Now, I don't have to use the actual and target values here. I could just not use those and simply update the values directly here in the grid up top. But I just want you to be aware of the interplay between, number one, if you're using actual value, the most current date and value will drive updating the key result current value. And then secondly, this area, the actual value and target values, are the ones that actually communicate with Rally. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show is the audit function. Same audit function that's everywhere else. We just did, I'll sort it on, I think, time here. I think I can do it by time. Yep, there it is. So the key result, we just updated the current value. It came in, old value was 2, new value was 5. So that's just another great example of how audit can help us determine, well, when did that change? Beyond looking at the actual or target value data in the sub-object itself. Okay, let's come back to, before I do that, let me go over to the key result. And I just want to talk about the owner concept at key result. This is, again, a great way to track individual responsibility or ownership of the key result as it contributes to the overall objective. which is accelerate company solution adoption. The other thing is unit of measure. This is a free-form text field. And so what I want to do is just update this to reference customers. That is our unit of measure. That is what 0, 5, and 5 represent. We're starting with none. Our target was 5, and then we just learned today that we have 5 reference customers. So our progress is now 100%. But I just wanted to point out the ownership and unit of measure concepts for you to consider. Okay, so let's switch gears. And now let's talk about, we're in Accelerate, and I'm going to go to the Properties tab. And of course, this is highly configurable based on the blueprint, but the thing I want to focus on just for this is our rich text editor component. This has been updated from an underlying technology, and FYI, it also is it's the same technology that Rally is using, and that has an interplay from an integration perspective. But regardless of that, it basically introduces all of the same capabilities that were there in the prior release. It's just a little bit different look and feel. So I can still bold things or unbold them all, I guess. I can change all of these guys from bullet format to number format. I can remove a strike through that was there and so on. There's a linking capability. Just come in here. The things that are a little bit different from a UX perspective are really the font pull downs, the font size pull down, and kind of the heading formatting. That's a little bit different. And this formatting was a little bit different here for left, right, center justification. But by and large, I shouldn't say by and large, it is introducing the same exact functionality that was there before. Okay, just highlight that and give it a fancy color. Okay, so let's shift gears a moment from the kind of the OKR conversation, and we'll talk about that new addition to display the Rally projects ID in addition to the project name. So I'm going to go to a different area. I'll go to our investments. I'll go to product lines. I'll pick retail banking, and I'll navigate to our hierarchy module that was introduced a while back. But you can see in here a number of these are products that roll up to this product line. But we're going to focus here on Rally projects. So this is kind of set up to communicate with Rally. You can see the integration mapping that's set up over here that indicates an opportunity to communicate with Rally. So the main thing I want to point out is the Rally project column here. So if I go in, this is selected already, so I see the name of the project, or quite often in terminology, the team. But you'll see the other ones that aren't selected yet is the name of the project and the project ID, right? So that's a consistent display here. And this was configured behind the scenes, which we'll go to in a second. Now, here's one that doesn't have a selection. You can see I don't have anything selected, so I see the name of the project and the ID. So business to bank engagement. Pay attention here to the 888-9337 as the tail end of that ID. I'll go ahead and select that and it'll be present. Now, if I go over to Rally, and we're going to focus on portfolio items, which is where this capability ties to, I can see I'm in business to bank engagement. Now, it may be hard to see, but I want to reference the ID. This is the ID of this project. You can see the 888-9337. I can also get there another way to just show you the values here. The business to bank engagement. This is going into the administration area within Rally, but there's my ID for the Rally project called business to bank engagement. So that's the 888-9337. So that's actually, I just wanted to prove the point that it's pulling over the appropriate ID. If I deselect this here and come back, I will now see the ID. All right. Now, if I go into the system here And I'll go into lookups, and I'm going to do a lookup name for Rally. And I'm going to look at the Rally projects ID, our lookup value, and I'm going to auto suggest. So this is where it's configured. So if I look at, I've already configured in advance to include the Rally project ID. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to take it out here as well. I'll save, and then I'll come back to, I'll refresh over here on the Clarity side, back on the run side, and we'll go right back to that same grouping there. And I'm going to show the effects of that. So now it's just the Rally project name, the project name itself. And that's simple configuration, and you can do that as you see fit. We'll go back to the objective listing. And now we're going to kind of focus on the integration with Rally. So first thing I'm going to do is select a particular view here, objectives, integration with Rally. And it's going to bring up a few more fields that are associated with the integration. You can see the the objective type. This is the Rally level, the objective levels. There are multiple levels in Rally that you can establish. And so this is basically saying, where do you want to put these? So the integration has been the metadata has already been transferred to Clarity. And so now we have the listing available, and these are all going to go to that level. Projects has no information yet. Measuring the state of the objective has a few things here. You can see there's a source, there's an integration, and when it was last updated. Also, with each key result, there are some additional things that we need to bring in. So I'm going to grab that view for integrating with Rally. And also the same thing here for actual values. Let me bring in those attributes that are associated with the integration. So we have, again, the integration mapping is set up for the key results, and the integration mapping is set up for the actual values. Now, notice we just did the May 10, 2023 to 5, so I need to set that up. I need to tell the system here that this is a line item we want to share with Rally. We don't really care about this one. That was done actually I'll do that one as well. But what's going to happen is the most current actual value will be the one that sets in Rally. So just watch for that. And here we have some additional information related to successful key result syncing. One of the things I want to do is come back to the objective level. And here we are. Notice we have a progress is 100%. So I feel pretty good that our confidence score should be 100 as well. So we'll go ahead and change that. The other thing was I'm kind of concerned about the progress we're making on this guy here at the 39% level. So I'm going to bump this one down to 50%. Okay. All right, so those are a couple changes that we made on the Clarity side that we want to run over and synchronize with Rally. And then we also want to make sure that we also want to make sure we update what's going on in Rally. So let's go take a look at Rally. As I mentioned earlier, successful sync. So we've already done some pre-work here to create a series of objectives in Rally. So here they are. Here's those 6 objectives. You can see an ownership is associated with them, except for one. Let's update that to make sure that's got an owner. The confidence score has already been set by Clarity. And you can see that the integration mapping value has already been set. That's automatically set when information comes over, and it tells me these came from Clarity. Notice the state isn't populated here. Let's update all of those. Let me close that bar down. Let's update the state here. We'll go ahead and edit. the state. The field is called state, and let's just make them all the same. We'll just do measuring, and except for the one that we know is 100% done on the clarity side. So I'll just make that done to keep it there. And pay attention to the confidence score here. That's currently 80. We haven't done the synchronization yet. The Ian ownership was just assigned. We haven't done the synchronization there yet. Notice there's no projects here. So let's go into this first one that has the 5 key results. We'll kind of focus in on this objective. There's some data here that came over from Clarity. Let's go into the key results. Now, the one thing I wanted to take a look at was the Achieve 5 reference customers. Pay attention, this has got 3. That was the last actual, right, as of 4/24. We have some new information on the Clarity side we're waiting to send over. But what I want to do here is I want to add a project. I want to add some projects here. So there's an area to assign teams with a particular objective. So I'm going to come into here and I'm going to pick these 2. Those 2 teams are dedicated to this objective. So pay attention to that coming over. All right, so I've saved that value. And we've changed the other ownership to Ian, this build a sustainable growth engine, we assigned that to Ian. So we made some changes on this side. Right now we've got the 2 projects. We've standardized on all the state of these objectives except for the done one. And we assigned an owner here. And so that's what we want, that information to make its way back over to Clarity so these things are in synchronized. Okay, so let's go to objectives real quick and just, remember we're looking for, I'll close this out. We're looking for some updates to projects, at least on this first one. And we're looking for an update of the state. And we'll talk about the confidence score that changes on the Rally side in 1 second. So let's go to class, go to our classic area, go to the jobs area. And we'll look at the job and we're looking for the sync job in particular. And we want to run the sync mapped information job, and the name of the integration mapping is OKR. And we will just say full load and hit submit. Okay, now while that is running, it'll just take a couple minutes. Let's go take a look at the integration setup, just so you're aware of some of the key changes there. So we're going into integrations. We'll pick, this is our integration mapping that we want. So this was all pre-configured, right? I'll select that object, and I've got my fields here. One thing I want to point out is, again, referencing the use of the term objective, right? Objective is singular. That's the out-of-the-box objective. There's a prior, this system can use objectives, and that those could be the CIT or CMO versions of those. So just be aware of the difference. And then I wanted to point out the projects that we just updated in Rally. That's going from Rally to Clarity, and so is the state. That's an update going from Rally to Clarity. So that's kind of why we made the changes over there for purposes of today's demo. On the sub-object mapping, again, the Clarity object is all singular, right? So based on the selected object in the object area, the Clarity object here is limited to the objectives and key results. And we can see the Rally to Clarity fields here. Remember, you need a Rally formatted ID in the integration mapping area, even if you're not presenting it in the screen, but you need it. And all we're doing is sending over name, start, and target for key result. Now remember, only point I wanted to make here is that our actual and target values, there is no need to create a field mapping for those, but you need to pick one approach. So here we are with our out-of-the-box OKRs, and that is the single object that we're using. The target and actual values can only have one, master. In other words, what one key result as an object that it supports. So just remember that, and you have to pick one. Okay, so let's go back to here, and I believe this jobs that we were looking for would have run. We'll just verify that real quick. Importing stage of table is done. Yep. So let's come back to objectives. And you can see here the results of our work. So notice that the projects, I'll just come over here. We were just looking for the 2 projects that came over. And we took off the continue. There is no concept of a project ID at the OKR level, so just be aware of that. But anyway, those are the ones that came over from Rally. And remember, we changed all of those to all the state values to measuring except for the one. And you can see actually the time frame. Here's our time frame success. So we're all good there. I think what I'll do is I'll just go down here to the target value. We had, the other thing I wanted to show you was an ownership. Ian is now the owner. This was blank on the Clarity side, so just be aware of that. Key results, we'll go all the way down to the actual value, and you can see the 2 values that the May 10th value we just added today is been synchronized, so that's good success. So let's take a look at the Rally side. And we'll refresh. We've got to refresh that page 2. And so we should see an improvement here. There's the 5 and the 2. The ownership value is there. And I think we've got everything. Let me go look at the updates here from the key results. And we can see here the current value is 5. So you can see the dip or the uptick here. We got our 5 and there's the date, 5/10. So that's positively showing that the current value came over from the Clarity actual value. And that was the only one we were really trying to impact here for purposes of the demo. All right, so let's come back to the Clarity objective page, and we'll kind of wrap up here with the demonstration. With the out-of-the-box capabilities now provide that capability to catalog your OKRs, and this out-of-the-box area has been updated to synchronize with Rally. All right, so that is the last slide, and that concludes our section today on the out-of-the-box OKR availability, as well as the out-of-the-box OKR integration with between Clarity and Rally. So thank you very much for your time today.